With the Vancouver Canucks prospect development scrimmage coming to an end, this one prospect really shined and turned a lot of heads. And we get an update on the Thatcher Demko injury going into next season. We're going to break all this down later on this episode. Before I start, I just want to give a shout out to everyone that's subscribed. We're trying to get to 3,500 by Sunday, so make sure to go down and hit the subscribe button if you want to be kept up to date with everything to do with the Canucks, from prospects, rumors, reports, trades, anything you can think of. Make sure to go down and hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. But with that, let's get straight into the first topic today, which is Riley Patterson shines. Now, Riley Patterson, a lot of people might know him, a lot of people might not know him, was the 4th round pick, 125th overall by the Vancouver Canucks this season. 6'1", playing center, 192 pounds at just the age of 18. And this guy had an absolute highlight reel goal during the development camp. I mean, Griffen, I know you're excited for everyone to see it too. The between the legs, top shelf. This kid sniped it. And you know what? I'm going to play it again. It was so good. Let's play it twice. He picks the top shelf on a breakaway. And this was not the only goal during the tournament. This kid was shining all over the ice, from maneuvering the puck, skating the puck around, setting people up, scoring goals. He was really turning heads. I mean, when you look at Riley Patterson, this guy scored 29 goals, 33 assists for 62 points in the OHL with the Barrie Colts this year, before going on to put up 3 points in 6 games in the playoffs. And just, Griffen, overall, what's your thoughts on Riley Patterson so early into his career of being a Vancouver Canuck?
That goal was so nice. First of all, it was so nice. I had to see it twice. It was awesome to see. And he had a great season with the Barrie Colts, where he put up a lot of production. It was great. Wasn't exactly Anthony Romani numbers, but this kid was electric in Barrie, putting up 29 goals, 33 assists for 62 points. That was nice, as well as a +7. So he was contributing. Good things were happening when he was on the ice more often than not. So you like to see that. He was one of the names, along with Melvin Fernstrom, that really stood out at this development camp scrimmage. They really made a case for themselves to make the roster, or at least the Abbotsford roster at the very minimum. And I think he's on his way to doing that with that amazing highlight reel goal. And I think he's a good Canadian boy that is going to make himself onto this Vancouver Canucks roster eventually as one of those future stars for sure.
Yeah, and the big thing is we've seen Riley and Fernstrom actually connecting on a lot. We've seen Fernstrom setting some of Riley's up, and this is just exciting to be a Canucks fan. Yes, obviously this was a 4th round pick. Fernstrom was a 3rd round pick. They didn't have the top end talent, but they got the best players available with 2 of these guys and Romani. I mean, when you're just looking at Patterson, he uses blazing crossover and smooth puck handling to attack the inside and catch the defense off guard. Sometimes he dangles through opponents before ripping a quick wrister. So getting in a center that can score goals, maneuver the puck, score these incredible just between the legs to impress these scouts, everyone enough for the Canucks to draft them. It's just exciting to be a Canucks fan at this point, seeing this young talent come up through. And with this, can you see maybe a 35 or 40 points goal season for Patterson in the OHL?
I think it's very possible. I think that his development with this Vancouver Canucks camp is going to very much contribute to his carrying over into the OHL. I think he's going to be on pace for another great season as well. It's going to be nice having that going into the future. And I think he does have a chance to put up those Romani type numbers, where last season he didn't have as many. Obviously, he had 60 points, which is still nothing to scoff at. But he might have that extra chip on his shoulder that Romani had, where he's like, okay, 60 points wasn't enough for you. All right, I'll go get 100, and I'll lead the OHL in goal and points. So that could be something that we might see out of him. Who knows? I mean, with that between the legs goal, I'm convinced that this kid is going to be able to be electric and make things happen no matter what team he's on. So I think he's definitely one of those players who will elevate the Barrie Colts, elevate the Abbotsford Canucks, and eventually the Vancouver Canucks when he's given the opportunity.
And the best thing about this with Patterson, it's going to be a tongue twister when we see Elias Pettersson to DPD to Patterson. The announcers are going to hate it, but everyone else is going to love it. But who was your favorite prospect the Canucks drafted? If you're keeping up to date on the development camp, who were you most impressed with? Because I think Patterson was number 1 for me. But with that, let's hop straight into the second topic today, which is Thatcher Demko injury update. Now, we did get a report from Woodley on Demko via the Canucks Central. He said there do seem to be some questions about where he is now and whether different things might have happened between now and then, but consensus seem he will be ready for training camp. Now, obviously, Demko went down with an injury in the playoffs. We've seen Shilovs come in and steal the show. I mean, Demko had an incredible season when he was playing. In that one playoff game, he looked outstanding. He was a Vezina candidate. And just overall, Griffen, are you worried that Demko might not come back 100%, or do you think he's just going to come back in guns blazing again and just be like he was this season?
I think he'll be one of those players that you kind of ease back into action. Don't rely on him too much. If and when the Canucks sign Shilovs, you do have a reliable starter, at least for the season. I'd much rather have Demko healthy in the later part of the season after resting an early part of the season, because if we're behind the eight ball a little bit early, we can always catch up. We saw the 16-game win streak that Edmonton alone went on. So I'm not too worried about it if he's not fully ready to go by the start of next season. We do have a reliable backup, or goalie 1B, I should say, in Shilovs. They're going to be more of a 1A and 1B, I think, this season, especially with Demko's injury history. So I think they want to play it safe. They don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past 2 seasons where his health was a major concern. They want to be able to ride with him in the later part of the season. He might not earn the Vezina numbers that he earned this year, but again, if you're able to compromise some numbers in exchange for wins and eventually the Stanley Cup, I think it's worth it in the end for sure.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is right now, obviously Thatcher Demko is signed going into next season. There's no doubt without it that this guy is going to be the starting goaltender. I mean, you look at the numbers through his career. Yes, injuries have been a concern, but that's with every single hockey player. This guy still has good years to give. He was a Vezina caliber goaltender this year where he finished 3rd in the voting, or I believe 2nd in the voting. So with Demko, he's going to come in. Obviously, Shilov still does need to be re-signed, so this will be the backup goaltender coming in. But what's your thoughts on the Canucks not really having that veteran third-string goaltender? Kind of like Casey Smith, do you want them to go out, maybe to bring in a guy in their 30s that can come in as the extra insurance in case of injuries or if anyone plays under what they were supposed to be playing?
Absolutely. I think we saw this past season where they needed to go to that emergency third goalie, and Shilovs was it. Thankfully, he was a hidden gem where he just lit the league on fire in the postseason with his outstanding performance. So they do have a potential to find another guy like that, whether it's a veteran backup or one of these new young guys that is just going to light the league on fire again. That might be a little bit more riskier of an investment to go with over a veteran guy. So it'll be interesting to see coming down to the trade deadline next season, or with the remaining bit of free agency that we have before the season starts, whether they go out and get that emergency third goalie. But yes, it's a nice insurance policy to have when you don't have to rely on your top 2 guys, especially when one of them is a Vezina caliber goalie and one of them is a potential future Vezina caliber goalie. So you want to make sure that those guys are protected as much as possible, just like a quarterback would be. So you want to make sure that you have someone who's ready to go instead of getting ready to go. You want to have them prepared. You want to have them ready for every situation. And I think Vancouver is going to put themselves in a position to do that.
Because, I mean, you're seeing all these teams around the league kind of looking at that 3 goalie tandem. I mean, you look at the Edmonton Oilers with having Jack Campbell as a starting goaltender, sliding down to the point where Calvin Picker came in and started some playoff games. So having teams with 3 goaltenders, I mean, the Florida Panthers did it as well. The Toronto Maple Leafs did it. There's so many teams. I am expecting Patrik Allvin and company to go out and get this 3rd-string goaltender. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on Demko? Do you think Shilovs could steal the starting job? And who would you like as a 3rd-string goaltender now that Casey Smith is off to Dallas? Let us know down in the comments. But speaking on comments, we'll hop into everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. And the comment today comes from Yoga Sound, and they say, let's go get to 3,500. Just subbed. Shout out to you. And if you want to be featured on the next episode of Comment Today, just like Yoga did today, you can go down and leave a comment and you could be featured. While down there, leave a subscribe. We're trying to reach 3,500 by Sunday, and leave a like. Share this with your friends. We'll be back maybe tonight or tomorrow with another episode, so you don't want to miss out on it. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host Griffen. Take care.